Hello again. So in the last video, we talked about what is a mortgage. I'm taking it slowly because I don't want to rush through any single thing. There are a lot of necessary elements to learn along the way. Having this primer with basic concepts explained slowly and thoroughly will really help you, I promise. So you'll also have these videos to go back to. If you feel overwhelmed, take a step back, and then hopefully there will be a single video that you can go back to. I'm trying to convey the totality of the experience and give you every piece of information in small digestible videos that you can always refer back to. In this video, I'm going to revisit the definitions that I mentioned throughout that video, because the definitions in themselves are pretty important because they set the foundation for the overall concept. Now, we have down payment. This seems basic, but a lot of people ask me what a down payment is. So I like to explain it as if you just might not know. So a down payment is the initial sum of money that you pay up front to the lender when you're buying a home. It's usually a percent of the total purchase price. And then the remainder is what's financed with that new mortgage loan. So that's down payment. It's always nice to see the numbers. If you bought a $200,000 loan and you put 5% down, so that's $10,000 down payment. So that leaves $190,000 that you would finance with a new mortgage. A mortgage is just a loan on a home, a fancy word for a loan on a home. The next term are closing costs. It's important to understand that closing costs are a thing, because I think it takes some people by surprise. Closing costs are fees and expenses paid by the buyer and seller when they're finalizing a real estate transaction. These costs are in addition to the purchase price and typically range from 3 to 6% of the loan amount. So if we're still talking about that $200,000 home, percent is about $6,000. So that means the cost to acquire this home has now gone up, because in addition to the purchase price, you also need to pay these closing costs. Closing costs represent things like title insurance, prepaid interest, escrow fees. There's a long list, and if you look it up online, you'll see that it's a little bit different in every state, because every state has different legal requirements to transfer a title to a house and to obtain a mortgage. You can look up standard closing costs in your state. Sometimes our closing costs related to the property, like a well inspection. Depending on the special features of the home you're buying, there could be other costs associated with that home. So it's very regional. This big picture approach will give you a pretty good idea of what would fall under that umbrella. Next, I talked about a lien. When you get a mortgage, that mortgage creates a lien on your property. There are two things that we refer to as a mortgage. There is a mortgage, the common term, and then there's a mortgage that's a legal term. The legal term is really where the common term came from. It's very common across the country to hear a loan for a house referred to as a mortgage. We refer to the process of the mortgage process. Lenders refer to themselves as mortgage lenders. There's a common term that has a different meaning than the legal term. A mortgage is a legal document that can create a lien on a house. So when I say a mortgage is a lien, that's technically not right. Technically, the mortgage creates the lien on your house. And the legal document that creates the lien on your house is either a mortgage or a deed of trust. A deed of trust and a mortgage are two types of security instruments that allow the lender to place a lien on your property. So the mortgage, or the deed of trust, is the actual document that you would sign. The lien, however, is the more intangible thing, a legal claim or right to a property that serves as a security for a debt or obligation. In the context of mortgages, it gives the lender the right to take possession of the property if the borrower fails to repay the loan. I'm really wanting to tie this all together because it's very important to know the power of a mortgage and what it means. When a lender places a lien on your home through a mortgage or a deed of trust, They have the right to take possession of your home if you fail to repay the loan, that they can foreclose on your property. Through the mortgage or liens placed on your home, and that lender is in a position to repossess or foreclose your home if you do not make payments as expected. And again, this is regional. Every state has different foreclosure laws. Some states are much more forgiving than other states, so it's very important to learn the foreclosure laws in your state if you ever find yourself behind on your payment. A typical foreclosure action can begin in about 90 days. So if you don't make your payments for 3 months, you could easily be in foreclosure trouble in most states. So foreclosure is when the lender begins the process to take possession of your home. Not fun, but I think it's something you'd want to know moving into the home buying process. This came up recently with a friend of mine. They were asking me, essentially what a HELOC was, or home equity line of credit. Lien position is the order of priority among the liens on the property. First lien position is usually the primary mortgage lender, and then subsequent lenders get a second, third, or other subordinate lien positions. This determines the order in which the creditors are paid off if the property is sold or foreclosed. If you remember in the last video, I talked a lot about the fact that the mortgage lender gets paid first. Let's say, using our handy $200,000 example, you bought the home for $200,000. You put $10,000 down. That leaves $190,000. That's your new mortgage. You owe that to lender number one. And then, for instance, you got a new line of credit from another lender. You got a line of credit for $30,000 to do some repairs and landscaping. Now you owe $220,000. I won't say it's you. Let's say this person. This person is experiencing a hardship. They're unable to pay their mortgage. They haven't paid their payment for several months and received a foreclosure notice from their lender. They'd been paying their line of credit payment because that payment was only $200 a month. But the mortgage, so $1,500 a month, they hadn't been paying. Now, that first mortgage lender wants their money. So they foreclose. And they go through the legal process. They foreclose on your house. And now they have the right to sell the property to get their money back. So they sell the property. But they only sell the property for the $200,000. You owe $220,000. The house only sold for $200,000. The first mortgage lender gets paid first. So what gets paid first? They're $190,000. First lender paid. On top of the amount you owe them, you will also owe fees and interest. So these numbers are not really true to life. Let's say that you paid them $190,000. What's left? $10,000. How are you going to pay back this line of credit? There's only $10,000 left, and you owe $30,000. That means you're negative $20,000. You have a debt to second lender. That is why lien position matters. I'm just going to go back. The lien position is the order of priority among multiple liens. Basically, they're getting in line, and the first person's going to get paid first. Whatever's left in that pile of money is going to go to the second person, third person, so on. So lien position really matters when you're looking for a loan on your house. If you want a third lien, you better have a lot of equity in your home. The further down the lien position, the more risk that new lender is taking on. That is why your first mortgage is called a first mortgage, because it has that first means first lien position. So, like I said in the first video, they get paid first. A recorder. A recorder is a public office that records legal notices. So when you buy a house, those documents are recorded at the public recorder's office. Recorders vary slightly nationwide. In many states, recorders are county by county. If you know what county you live in, you can look up the county recorder for your particular county, and you will see copies of recorded documents. That's where things like the mortgage and the deed of trust is recorded. So it is a public record. So there's never going to be a situation where you can sell your house to somebody and not pay off someone who has a lien recorded against your property. It's to protect their interest in your property, so that if someone comes knocking on your door with a cash offer and hands you $500,000, they're not going to get title to your house without first paying the lien that is owed on the property. That's why most home transactions take place with a title and escrow company. They act as the intermediary to make sure that when the buyer gives the money, that money is used to pay off all of the existing liens, and that the house is given to the new buyer with what's called a clean title. Therefore, they know that there are no outstanding amounts owed and that the house is theirs.